And actually, this Zahedi character, this guy was, I'm told, on the Shura Council of the Hezbollah, which means that he pretty much controlled, especially after 1979, when these mad Ayatollahs came in and took charge of Iran. They've been attacking, but always through proxies. This is the first time that they directly attacked. UK has just opened the floodgates for so many people to come into the UK. Many of them are radical Islamists, and all of them support organizations like Hamas and Hezbollah. Jai Hind friends, I'm Major Goravari and you're watching the Chanakya Dialogues English. Like this video, subscribe to our channel and don't forget to press the bell icon. You're all aware of the attack of the Israeli Air Force in which they targeted specifically the Iranian embassy or consulate in Damascus, and they took out about 13 people. 3 of them were very senior Iranian generals, especially from the Islamic Republican Guard Corps, which is the most elite of the regiments or the units of the Iranian army. And they were taken out. I'm sure you remember how General Qasem Soleimani was taken out. So all these generals have been targets of the other forces because they are the ones who actually propagate terrorism, whether it is in the form of the Hezbollah, the Hamas or the Houthis. It is all controlled by Iran, and within Iran it is controlled, funded, they're trained, they're equipped by the Islamic Republican Guard Corps. So essentially this is like the mothership of terrorism in the Middle East, or West Asia as India likes to call it. Now, after this attack, I think Israel wanted to, tickle the animal, so to say. Israel wanted to know how would Iran react. Would Iran make a mistake? And here I'm going to give you a cricketing analogy, right out of cricket. Here is a batsman back against the wall. Back against the wall. The team needs 6 runs to win. That's it. 6 runs, last ball. Good bowler, steaming into ball, fast bowler. And unfortunately, the bowler bowls a full toss. The batsman swings his bat. The ball crosses the boundary ropes for a 6, and the team wins the match. This is exactly what happened. When Iran already had Israel's back against the wall. And how? Let me explain how, ladies and gentlemen. Sure, the Israelis were hammering the hell out of Hamas and they had flattened Gaza. There is no doubt about that. So militarily, Israel, was on the upward trajectory. But there was a huge amount of global pressure on Israel not to do anything further. Ceasefire. America said, we are not going to support you. Ceasefire. The European Union said, we are not going to support you. Ceasefire. It was getting out of control for Israel. And then suddenly, Israel, I think it was a masterstroke. Now, many people would disagree, but I think this direct targeting of Iranian generals in Damascus was a masterstroke by the Israelis, right? They tickled the animal. The animal responded. Like I said, the bowler would respond to the full toss, and then you hit it out of the park for a 6. Now, Iran launched over 300 missiles. There were drones, there were ballistic missiles, there were cruise missiles. And let me just tell you what exactly happened. Okay, and let me start from the Damascus bombing. It's very important to get the facts right so that I can tell you this entire story and where it's going. General Mohammad Raza Zahedi, senior leader of the Iranian Quds Force. Iranian Quds Force is a force that looks after foreign operations, if I may put it that way. Foreign operations, right? And the British-based Monitor, which has a vast network of sources inside Syria, said the deaths included 5 Iranians. So 5 Iranians died, including 3 IRGC leaders, which are 3 generals of the IRGC, 4 Syrians working with the Iranians, 1 Syrian civilian, 2 Lebanese, and 1 Iraqi national. So this multinational, or this small little United Nations of terrorism, was taken out by 1 or 2 Israeli Air Force missiles. They put a missile right there in the block hole. They took out everybody. Now what happened after this was, the Hezbollah said, now listen to this very carefully. Israel knew exactly who it was targeting. This was not a random strike. The Israelis are just too professional. They're just too professional. The problem with the Iranians is that they think terrorism is not wrong. They actually think it should be a legal tool for any country to use. The Iranians don't think terrorism is bad. They would have told the Hezbollah to shut up. Immediately, when their general died, they should have told the Hezbollah to shut up. They should have done it. The Iranians did not do it because they do not consider Hezbollah or Hamas wrong. They do not think that you eliminate kids, Jews. It's wrong. They don't think it's wrong. That's the problem with the Iranians. So here, Hezbollah said on Tuesday, and I'm reading this, all right? Hezbollah said on Tuesday that General Zahedi played a crucial role in helping develop and advance the work of the group in Lebanon. Imagine, here is Hezbollah remembering an Iranian general and saying that it was General Mohammad Reza Zahedi who was responsible for helping develop and advance the work of the Hezbollah in Lebanon. Now, what does this tell you? And actually, this Zahedi character, who died in the airstrike, the senior most of the three generals who died, was actually this Quds force. Is like a paramilitary force. As I said, they look after so many operations, including foreign operations. And this guy was, I'm told, on the Shura Council of the Hezbollah, which means that he pretty much controlled Hezbollah. He was in that top decision-making body. And ladies and gentlemen, Hezbollah is an organization that has been declared a terrorist organization by the United Nations. So many other terrorism watchdogs have said that, this organization is controlled by Iran. And here they are giving condolence messages to the Iranians, saying that we lost such a great guy. He was such a fun character, and he was the guy who trained us and funded us. So that is what happened. And so Iran launched a total of over 300 drones, ballistic missiles and cruise missiles, 99% of which were intercepted by the Israelis. 99%. And they were because the Israelis have a 3-layered air defense cover for Israel. The smallest, or the one with the range, the smallest range, it is called the Iron Dome. That has the smallest range. After that, bigger than that is David Sling. And then you have the Arrow series 1, 2, 3. So 99% of what Iran fired was taken out of commission. Absolutely. And then this was also helped by the Americans and the British, who were busy shooting down the Iranian missiles, of course. As soon as they came to know that, hey, these missiles are coming and trying to enter Israeli territory, they shot them down. They shot down a few missiles, and the rest were shot down by the Israelis. Now, why is it good for the Israelis? Why do I say it's a full toss given by Iran, which the Israelis have hit out of the park? Number one, okay, let me just tell you the breakup. There are 170 drones, 120 ballistic missiles, and approximately 10 cruise missiles. Now, what did this tell you? Whenever you go and buy a weapon system, any country, not just India alone, any country, when they want to buy a weapon system, one of the first questions that they ask, and one of the most relevant questions that they ask is, has this particular platform been tested in combat? Or is it just a lovely looking piece of machinery that you're selling us? Has it been tested in combat? This is the first time Iran has attacked Israel directly through its forces. It has always been attacking Israel for a very, very long time, especially after 1979, when these mad Ayatollahs came in and took charge of Iran. They've been attacking, but always through proxies. This is the first time that they directly attacked. And this is a lovely advertisement. I'm sorry I'm putting it this way. Serious matter, a matter of war, but unfortunately that's what it is. Tomorrow the Israelis can go and actually tell the world that, hey, here is a system that has been tested in combat. Here is a system that works. Not very many countries can claim that. Not many countries can claim that. Here is a system that works 99%. So if you are attacked, the Israelis can very well go and tell a country that if you are attacked tomorrow, out of 100 missiles that are fired, 99 will get stopped by us or our systems. So come, buy the Arrow missile, buy David Sling, buy Iron Dome. It's a tried and tested platform. Or these three platforms are tried and tested in war and combat. So that is one pitch that the Israelis. Secondly is that, Israelis had their back, as I said, the batsman had its back against the wall. The Israelis had their backs against the wall ever since they started responding on the 7th of October. 7th of October, the Israelis were always facing things from the rest of the world. Oh, you've killed so many civilians and there is death and destruction in Gaza and you shouldn't do that and you're being irresponsible and this is overwhelming force and this is disproportionate response, etc., etc., etc. Even their close friends like the Americans and the European Union and UK were telling Israel to take it easy. They said that we can't support all this and this is looking bad and you've got to stop. Because what has happened is that in these countries, especially the UK has just opened the floodgates for so many people to come into the UK, People from countries like Yemen, from Syria, from Pakistan, Lebanon, Palestine, Jordan, all these basket cases. Countries which amount to nothing, they're just basket cases. They're just there. They just exist. They don't contribute very much to the world. And hundreds of thousands of such people, they have come in. Many of them are radical Islamists and all of them support organizations like Hamas and Hezbollah. You should have seen the kind of support the Hamas got on the streets of London. And this is what I tweeted about yesterday. Yesterday I tweeted this only and I said that, Rishi Sunak has said he has condemned the Iranian strikes. But, one thing which both America and the European countries, including UK, they do not realize. They have a very strong fifth column inside their own countries. There's a very strong fifth column. All these woke liberals, the idiots of the highest kind, they're there. And then you have these radical Islamists who now have a passport. And there's nothing you can do about them. They have a passport. They're living there. They have their own set of lawyers. They've learned the ropes. They know the tricks. They will use the legal system of the UK and the USA against it. And this is what they're doing. So, especially the UK. France has learned the hard way when last year they burnt half of France. But UK has a very, very strong fifth column. People who are British citizens carrying British passports who have sworn an oath to uphold the constitution of the UK and yet are silently working against the interests of the UK. And this is a solid national security threat for the UK. And this is something that Prime Minister Rishi Sunak should look into. Because tomorrow, if things go from bad to worse, I'm hoping they do not. I'm hoping that there is peace. But if tomorrow Britain has to come out fully in support of Israel, these people, these radical Islamists in UK, will ensure that UK is in a state of civil war. All these guys from the UK right wing, there are so many of them. I don't want to take one person's name, but there are so many of them. When they say that the UK is in danger, a lot of people call them racist. No, they are not racists. They're just telling the truth. And I can tell you, many people may disagree with Tommy Robinson. Many will say that we don't like this guy and we don't agree with this guy and this guy is absolutely wrong and he's a racist and he's a hate monger. No, he's not. The problem is that he's telling you the bitter truth which you do not want to hear. Because he's, I think, slightly ahead of his time. You don't want to listen to him. You think that he's causing chaos. No, it is the radical Islamists and the left which are causing chaos inside. And he's amongst the very few people who are actually calling them out. And people don't like him because of that. And that's okay. He's doing his job. So I think the UK and the US need to be worried less from Iran, but more about Hezbollah, Hamas and Houthi supporters who are there. Radical Islamists, illegal immigrants who have come, I don't know how, they've entered these countries and now have a firm political base in their nations. Anyway, I'll go back to the war. And so they intercepted 99% of these missiles, and here is a great thing. Now, how should Israel react? Should Israel bomb Tehran? That is one option, of course. They have the F-35, which no Iranian radar will notice. They can go deep inside Iranian territory, bomb Tehran and come back. Nobody's the wiser. Another good idea would be to watch how it unfolds. Because suddenly the world, for the first time since 7th of October, The world is not talking about how Israel bombed Gaza. They're not talking about that for the first time. For the first time, the world is talking about how Iran bombed Israel. And all the world leaders who were criticizing Israel and saying that Israel is so wrong in bombing Gaza, look at their tweets. All of them saying that they stand with Israel. Israel has, by this one small maneuver of tickling that animal in Damascus, Israel has turned the game upside down. And today the world is again once more standing with Israel. Though America is saying that if you retaliate against Iran, then we are not with you. We will not take part in the retaliation. But the fact of the matter is that Israel could retaliate, or maybe Israel will just say that, okay, we need a deal. You need to arm twist Iran to tell Hamas to free all the hostages. That's number one. Number two, what you need to do is put serious, very, very serious sanctions on Iran so as to cripple their economy absolutely. I think Israel is going to make the maximum out of this. Israel is going to twist arms, and like how. This is my understanding, but maybe like the War Council in Israel said that we will respond at a time and place of our choosing. Maybe that could also be the case. But what I'm estimating is that Israel today is in a fantastic place. It's in a very, very comfortable place. It can do exactly what it wants, and the world is with Israel for now. Now, friends, for the question and answers, we have Karthik Subramaniam. Namaste, Gaurav ji. Namaste, Karthik ji. Why does Zelensky is running to others for peace talks when his conflict is with Russia? First, Ukraine FM came to India to use India-Russia relationship as a leverage. Now, Switzerland has invited Ukraine for peace talks without Russia, which makes no sense. Yeah, you see, Zelensky believed in the Americans. And anybody who believes in the Americans, right, gets shortchanged. The Americans are nobody's friends. They'll encourage you to fight. And when you say, hey, where are the weapons? They say, oh, the Congress is not agreeing. This is what has happened. So Zelensky is running everywhere for peace. Putin is not running everywhere and saying that there should be peace. Putin is just attacking. It is Zelensky who's running. And Zelensky is trying to take the advantage of India having fantastic leverage over Russia and saying that use that leverage, which India will not. And as far as having this, peace summit or peace talks in Switzerland without Russia, this is again the stupidity of the West. They have these peace talks. They should invite both the Russians and the Ukrainians and say, okay, here is a peace talk. No, they don't want to do that. Because somewhere in their heart, they still believe that they can defeat Russia, which is not true. Pankaj Malhotra says, greetings, sir. Greetings, Pankaj ji. My question to you is, although Indian Armed Forces courage and bravery is unquestioned, kg for kg, tonnage for tonnage, China's navy is much larger than the Indian Navy. Chinese Air Force has more aircraft which are presumably deadlier, as per Chinese claims, and they have higher number of artillery, tanks and soldiers. I have no doubt that the Indian forces will give a tough time on the ground to the Chinese forces, but in an all-out war, do you think India stands a chance to defeat China? Jai Hind, Jai Mata Di. All right. So, first of all, the Chinese Navy, you're saying kg for kg, or let's say boat for boat. Boat for boat, the Chinese Navy is, to my mind, bigger than the US Navy also. Forget about the Indian Navy. It is not a battle-tested Navy. The people who fight, they are conscripts in China. And China has not fought a war since 1979. And in 1979, it was badly bashed up by Vietnam. Why does China have such a large Navy? Because China is competing against the United States. China wants to have a bigger and a better Navy. China wants to be a world leader. What are India's aims? You see, your Army, Navy and Air Force, your artillery guns, your fighter jets, your helicopters will all depend on what you want. What you want. We are not here to say that India will take over the world. No. We are not saying that. We have never said that. We are not interested in that. What we are interested in is, safeguarding our own sovereignty. And I think we are building up. Are we there? I don't think we're there. But the way we are progressing, we are going to be there very fast, which is why China is slightly upset with India. And they said that the proof of the pudding is in the eating. After Galwan or during Galwan, when India put its troops up front, tank for tank, artillery shell for artillery shell, soldier for soldier, missile for missile, vehicle for vehicle, ammunition for ammunition, China came to know that India is not a power that can be treated lightly. Even today, as we speak, as I record this video, the Indian Army is staring down the Chinese Army along the line of actual control. So if anybody thinks that just because they have more boats or they have more guns, the Indian Army is a walkover, I'm very sorry. The Indian Armed Forces even today have the capability to give the Chinese a run for their money. This is our terrain. These are our waters. You cannot fight on our terrain with us. We can smack you hard. Thank you very much for watching this video, ladies and gentlemen. If you like this video, subscribe to our channel and don't forget to press the bell icon. Jai Hind, Vande Mataram, Bharat Mata ki Jai.